Jackson Podcast.
Before I get into the conversation, I want to shout out to the creator of this video and his platform, Black Stories Untold. Make sure y'all go subscribe to that channel and hit the like button for me if you want to help me get into this algorithm, because I feel like this is a very interesting conversation. Um, Even for white people, you know, even though we're prioritizing black and we're prioritizing us, Trump is erasing history, erasing black history, removing artifacts from the African American Museum in DC. What I have to say about that is that, unifying is critical for the African American race, for the black race, FBA, ADOS, however you want to identify. It's cool with me. But those museums are funded by with federal funds, with government funds. So they can do whatever they want to with those museums, removing artifacts and change the way the story is being told. If we had our own museum that we invested our money in and we could put our own artifacts, our own books and things in it, it'll be a totally different story because can't nobody remove nothing. So, we're gonna get into this. It's important to me to understand history. If you follow the channel or if you're new to the channel, I have a playlist called Historically Speaking, talking about a lot of historical events, things, people, speeches. It's just very important to me to understand where I come from. But I want to say something about Trump first before I play the video. He's not the first president to erase or attempt to erase history. And it ain't just black history that they attempting to erase. They have erased white history also. So, this is an ongoing thing. But let's get into the video, man. How Trump is erasing black history. Let go.
Destroying black history in front of our very eyes. While we are distracted with gas prices and groceries.
Are the prices that you're paying at the grocery store and gas pump going down? Pitt County residents are voicing their opinions today after a post on Truth Social from President Trump said that grocery and egg prices have improved.
Something sinister is unfolding in the background. In March 2025, President Trump's administration began directly targeting enslavement exhibits at the National Museum of African American History. This is, of course, under the guise of an executive order titled Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. Trump's cabinet is systematically dismantling black history institutions nationwide. What truth are they exactly restoring? This is just the same lost cause narrative that's been trying to whitewash America's racist past for generations. And the most disturbing part in all of this is that nobody's talking about it. Let's start with the first thing on Trump's crosshairs. The National Museum of African American History and Culture.
Before they talk about that, I want to tell y'all something, and I want to give y'all some information about that museum, because I remember in 2023, I told my wife the only thing I want to do for my birthday, I just want to go to DC. I want to go to some museums, the African American Museum. I want to go to the Space Museum. I want to eat some good vegan food because I know they're a multicultural town or whatever, city, and they have a lot of great vegan recipes and a lot of great vegan restaurants. Man, I had an amazing time, and I learned a lot of things that I didn't know about slavery, that I didn't know about black history, and it just added to my repertoire of knowledge that I have about us. And I feel like it's important for everybody to go see that museum still, even though they removed some of the artifacts, because the artifacts that they removed, the people that they sent them back to, they're speaking on YouTube, they're speaking on platforms about how important these artifacts is, what these artifacts was. So you still receiving that information because the people are speaking about it. But it's more information in there. Even though it's federally funded by the government, it's still important for you to go see, man. I heard a lot of people, we even had a caller call into the show that I was doing on Water Guy TV at one time saying that I ain't going there, man. I ain't, I don't want to go there. That's cap. That's not something that I want to, be a part of. And salute to my dog too. Go subscribe to his channel also, Rob at Water Guy TV. Dope conversations, man. Dope informational content that he's doing over there. But I want to play the video. Keep the video going. Let me shut the hell up.
Just a few years ago, a high school teacher named Adam Sanchez stood with his students in the lower level of the museum, where the story of enslavement and the Middle Passage is told. He watched as tears streamed down one student's face. The class gathered in a quiet space, processing what they've just witnessed. Everyone understood why he had tears in his eyes. Sanchez later said, "I knew that the museum was going to bring this history to life in a way that you couldn't in the classroom, and it certainly did. And this was only one of the many stories that happen here. For millions of Black Americans, this wasn't just a building with artifacts. It was a testament to survival, resistance, and the persistence of the Black spirit. But now, Trump's executive order has put this vital institution in trouble. The order claims that the Smithsonian Institution, including the museum in question, has come under the influence of divisive, race-centered ideology. It demands the removal of what it calls improper ideology from these hallowed halls. The truth about enslavement, according to this administration, makes America look bad, as if the history of America was rainbows and butterflies to begin with, something President Trump refuses to acknowledge. But here's the irony in all of this. This same museum was championed by Republican President George W. Bush, who signed the bill authorizing its federal funding. At its grand opening in 2016, Bush stood alongside Barack Obama, delivering passionate speeches supporting the museum's mission. Imagine that, two people from opposing parties came together to actually give respect to the history that built this nation. That's because they understood what Trump doesn't, that facing our history, however painful, makes America stronger. But there's something even more sinister at work here. The executive order doesn't just target the enslavement exhibits. It aims to fundamentally change how American history is presented. It demands that all public monuments and museums do not contain descriptions, depictions, or other content that inappropriately disparage Americans' past or living. In other words, if the truth makes people uncomfortable, the truth has to go. The museum's founding director, Lonnie Bunch, spent years collecting over 40,000 artifacts to tell their story. He created a space that celebrates not just the struggles, but also the joys, the culture, and the triumphs of the African American experience. Now, with a single signature, Trump is threatening to sanitize this history, to make it more comfortable for those who'd rather not face the truth. But the war on Black history isn't just happening in museums. In January 2025, President Trump's administration sent an official message to all federal departments and offices. The message, addressed to department leads and key personnel, seemed bureaucratic on the surface, but its contents were chilling. Create a plan for eliminating DEI employees from the federal workforce. The departments were given until January 31st to complete this task. But Trump's administration couldn't even wait that long. A second message soon followed, and it was more urgent than the first. This one didn't just ask for plans. It ordered department leaders to begin firing DEI employees immediately. According to Trump, this move...
You know, I've gave my take about DEI and how it wasn't something that was specific for Black people. That was my only gripe. I never said it was a bad thing, but I said that, you know, it wasn't specific for Black people because we talks about specifics. You know, we want specifics. We want things that shows that the government, if we are integrated with these people, what are they contributing to the best interest of the people that they integrated with? Nothing, my opinion. Nothing. Everything is about money. A group of people don't matter in America. It's about capitalism. They don't need the people that's in power don't even care about white people, let alone us. They care about class. They only align themselves with people in the similar class. They don't race. I'm actually tired of the race talk. I'm actually tired of going on platforms hearing Black this, white that, FBA this, gay that, trans. I'm tired of it, to be honest with you. But I want to say something. That bill that he signed, it devalues all museums, because if we're going to include feelings in it and emotions in it, then we want to remove because we want to, you know, not make people feel a type of way. When history is nothing but making people feel a type of way and being knowledgeable about what had happened previously. So what makes me think about this, I take notes every time I do shows or whatever. So if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at the notes. If it doesn't align with the agenda, it has to be removed. These 4 years, boy, it's going to be a lot of changing that he's going to be trying to do permanently. You know, just me being aware, and I looked at this whole video first, but I'm going to give y'all my commentary on it. He removing history, and we got niggas on YouTube playing with y'all emotions talking about reparations. As if that's something that they really want to give a nigga. And if they give it to people, it's going to be some sort of agenda behind it, man. In America, it's always some sort of agenda behind everything. That's why it's so important to unify your neighborhoods, link up with your partners and create something financial that's going to help y'all, your family members. Prioritize yourself and family. Not trying to tell you to have an individual mindset, but man, you got to prioritize yours and the people you love, man. Let's get back into the conversation, man.
Move was meant to stop what he called racism within the government. He labeled these DEI programs, initiated by President Joe Biden, as both illegal and immoral. When he signed the executive orders to dismantle them, he referred to DEI as an identity-based spoil system, claiming it robbed hard-working Americans of job opportunities. And by hard-working Americans, he meant white Americans. And this attack on diversity didn't stop at government doors. The executive order encouraged federal agencies to explore ways to influence the private sector to eliminate their own DEI initiatives. The goal was to dismantle diversity programs across the entire country. And we're already seeing.
You know what? That shit's so slick. Like it's slick because him saying that we're going to be a moral-based country, a country on merit and all of that, it sounds so like, it sounds right. Like if he's speaking for the people in totality. But it's like it's a trick up under everything when you are hearing these people messaging. And it's going to hinder a group of people that DEI was helping. We understand it wasn't specific, but it was helping people that didn't look like the dominant race in America. And him saying that we're going to be more merit-based gives them an out to where they don't have to be held accountable for doing specifically for their people and not having, that ain't even a word, not having to include others. Damn.
The impact. Major companies like McDonald's, Meta, Target, and Walmart have responded to this pressure. Walmart, for example, shut down a racial equity center it had created in 2020, an initiative that had received $100 million in investment. The decision to abandon this project was made under federal pressure. At one time in this country, Black people were enslaved. They were looked down upon. White people saw themselves as superior. But our people fought for freedom. In the late 1800s, they achieved emancipation. Still, racism persisted. White mobs stormed Black towns, burning them to the ground. Yet Black people continued to fight for their rights. In the early 1900s, we saw countless Black heroes rise up and advocate for our community. Over time, their efforts led to critical progress. By dismantling these programs, Donald Trump isn't just cutting jobs. He's trying to erase the progress we've made, and with it, a part of Black history. The two executive orders aimed at DEI pose a serious threat to the diversity we've achieved in both government and the private sector. But this systematic dismantling of Black progress isn't happening in isolation. It's part of a broader agenda, one that reaches far beyond office buildings and corporate boardrooms. What makes this attack on Black history so dangerous is its subtlety. The executive order doesn't explicitly ban the teaching of enslavement or segregation. It doesn't outright forbid museums from discussing civil rights, but instead, it does something far more insidious. It uses federal funding as a weapon. Under the order, any museum or institution receiving government funds must undergo an ideological review, a team handpicked by the administration.
You know, he was saying was like erasing the progress that was made. It's crazy that all people fought, died, lives was lost to integrate with the government structure instead of fighting and striving to unify together. Like, it's sick that all of that fighting and all of that history and all of that stuff that was done with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and the civil rights could all just be by the stroke of a pen, because it really wasn't true progress. I hate to say that. It really wasn't intangibles. It really wasn't progress that we could see, touch, and feel. It was a mythical progress because it was just integrating with their structure. Golly.
Will examine every exhibit, every educational program, and every historical text. Their job is to basically identify and remove what they call divisive narratives that undermine national cohesion. The order prohibits spending on exhibits or programs that degrade shared American values, divide Americans based on race, or promote programs or ideologies inconsistent with federal law and policy. In other words, if you want to keep your funding, you better make history more comfortable. We're already seeing this strategy at work. On the National Park Service's Underground Railroad websites, there have been subtle but noticeable changes in how Harriet Tubman's story is framed. Harriet Tubman was a woman who, after escaping enslavement herself, became the most famous conductor of the Underground Railroad, risking her life countless times to lead enslaved people to freedom. The National Museum of African American History and Culture even holds her shawl, a tangible piece of resistance against oppression. According to recent reports, where her image was once prominently featured in content about the Underground Railroad, some of those materials have been revised or reframed under the broader theme of Black-White cooperation. Her picture and name haven't been entirely erased, but they are being softened, reframed, or relocated. These efforts don't explicitly erase her story, but they do attempt to soften it, to remove its radical edge and reduce it to something more palatable for those who would rather forget the reality of American history. But it gets worse. The order specifically critiques exhibits like The Shape of Power, Stories of Race and American Sculpture at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. Why? Because it dares to acknowledge that societies, including the United States, have used race to establish and maintain systems of white supremacy. But the museums and memorials are just surface-level symbols. Underneath them lies a deeper battle, one over who holds the power to define what America is and what it has been. While the nation debates whether the order is legal or ethical, the impact is already visible, and this went beyond just race. Some museums are restructuring their exhibits. One notable example is the Smithsonian American Women's History Museum, which has been directed by the executive order to exclude the recognition of transgender women entirely. The order mandates that the museum celebrate the achievements of women and not recognize men as women in any respect, effectively erasing the contributions and identities of trans women from the historical narrative. Others are preemptively censoring their panels. Tour guides are being told.
Now, by them including trans, that ain't what we need to be doing. To be honest with you, we need to be focused on ourselves. But if you want to include that, then why do we care about the war generals and stuff being their monuments and stuff being took down? If you want to include and keep all history, like, I knew something was going to happen when they start tearing them statues down of those war heroes and stuff. Because if you can erase their history, all this history shit is empowerment, and nobody cares about it. You have to be knowledgeable about it, write it down, remember it, and a lot of people actually don't give a damn about this shit. They living in the present. That's all they really care about. But history to me is important. I think education in totality is important and learning is important. So I will always value history. If history isn't important, don't teach it in school. Don't make somebody waste 12 years of their life learning history, or don't make it something you can go to college for and have to owe a couple of $100,000 in back pay. You know, uh, erasing, removing, changing definitions, playing around with words in the Bible and all of that. Like, it's hard to trust anything. But awareness of it is good. Damn.
To avoid certain questions. Whole chapters of the American story are being shortened, softened, or skipped. I'd love to hear from you. Have you noticed these kinds of subtle changes in your own community, schools, or museums? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below. This is the state of the U.S. right now, a nation built on the labor, suffering, and resilience of people who still haven't received the justice they were promised. But Trump's executive orders don't stop at rewriting history. They reach into other areas of life where Black Americans attempt to thrive. Take education. Trump's executive orders are undermining support systems that disproportionately benefit historically Black colleges, institutions that have long been underfunded. Now, with freezes on federal loans and grants, it's becoming even harder for Black students to access financial aid and pursue higher education. And with DEI programs dismantled, the pipeline for hiring and retaining Black faculty is at risk. The assault on job opportunities is equal.
Damn, you know what though? What's crazy about me listening to this and looking at this, and I'm gonna let him close out because I know I've been doing some talking, but it just has been sparking my mind about integration and dependency upon the government with jobs, with loans to be able to get a further education that doesn't guarantee you a job. You know, us contributing to this whole shit hasn't even benefited us. It only fattened their pockets. You know, that's some bullshit, man. Hey, rewind this video back to the top. Go check out that brother channel. It's a dope channel. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please, let's further the comments. Please, let's further the discussion in the comment section below. I want to know y'all thoughts, man. Is this something that is even of y'all interest? Real spill. I'm out, man. Peace, love, plenty abundance. Make sure you go get you some money, and I'm gone. Chill.
The Trevor Jackson.